Okay, well, good afternoon. I'm going to be presenting Drupal 8 and Angularjs, the Rockstar duo. So I guess how many people here is familiar with Drupal and Drupal 8? Oh, that's good. And Angular? Okay, so this is going to be pretty much that. We're going to see some code and going to try to make as interactive as I can. That means in the process we might end up with some errors, but it is what it is. Hopefully not. Well, something about me. You can find me everywhere as Tadewaki, and that's me eating a mouse. I own a dev shop back in Costa Rica called Outer Space Coders, and we are in partnership with Common Media here. Maybe you know what they are, sponsored the event. You can find my Twitter as Tadewaki. You can find my Facebook, the same name. And of course, Drupal.org is going to be on the same title in case you want to see my awesome patches. So let's start on the theory. What is a headless Drupal, or what we understand on it? Basically, it's a system that integrates everything in one place. By everything, I mean the whole data, just like regular databases, but it can be provided in a way we can consume that data on different platforms, basically front-end platforms. Although it can be other platforms back-end, but it wouldn't make much sense. There are several types of applications that can be integrated with headless. In not only Drupal provides headless. Of course, there's a lot of frameworks and platforms that provide that can be integrated as a headless platform, but we're talking here about Drupal. And we can use mobile application. We can use frameworks that consume the rest, and on the very sense of headless, Drush can be understood as a platform that's also headless. Headless is not the new Drupal, the new way of doing things. Headless Drupal is not the new way of doing things. It's just a way to do it, and it's not meant to solve every single issue that you have or every single problem. You can, of course, use other platforms or other tools depending on your needs. And this is just one of the ways, and is becoming more and more common and cool. I normally like to see things in a point of view of pro and cons. So not everything is nice, not everything is cool. You got to go through a process, and you got to decide whether you like the platform or not, or you need it or not. In my personal, from my personal point of view, I like it, but I don't use it in everything. Actually, there's a couple of projects I might be working with this. And inside of that advantage, I might see more control over the front end, which means we can do whatever we want as long as we keep a regular HTML structure. In the case of you're working on the front end as HTML, or in the case of an app, Android or iPhone, you can just modify the app and consume the data the way you want. It separates the updates from the update in the backend. So pretty much, if you guys want to upgrade and change the way it looks your application or platform, you can do it without impact the current data and migrate. And a cool thing about this is that we have a centralized data. So I can have my own app consuming the same data that my Angular app is going to consume that data, but also I can be checking it on the backend with Drupal. Point number 3 is allows Drupal to be used as part of the stack and not as every single layer. So Drupal normally provides us not just an MVC platform, but a content management where we can integrate any theme plus content types and views and all the beautiful things that Drupal provide for us. But in this particular point, we can just separate it and make it part of one of the layers, which is just data provider plus content management system. We can use the support that Drupal content types provide to easily be integrated with any of those systems. What it means, we don't need to program or create a new architecture. We can use Drupal to handle all the data we're going to be using on our system, and just increase this structure in amount of fields or like the way we provide things, and increase it on amount of data, but without impacting any of the others front-end structures. On disadvantage, I can say that we lost some tool functionality that Drupal provides. We know there's a lot of Drupal distributions, what we call Drupal profiles out there, and as well as themes and frameworks that provide theming for Drupal to be implemented, like Bootstrap, and that makes Drupal really easy to develop from a front-end point of view. And of course, Drupal 8 is already responsive, so that helped a lot. But we're going to be losing all that because we're moving into the front end to somewhere else, and that involves more work. We have to create the model twice, which means we create a structure and content types in one side, and we also create a structure to be provided to the front end as JSON or any other format we want. Normally it's JSON. We have to split our team and Drupal experts and app experts. That means if we have a Drupal expert and we're using an external platform, we got to hire an expert on Angular or iPhone at the moment, which involves more money, more people for the company. That's from a business point of view. And it's good to have in mind if we want to go this way. Angularjs, in case we're not familiar with that, but I see some people here. It's a JavaScript framework supported by Google. It's open source, and they describe themselves as MVW, which is model view, whatever works for you. So you can just do whatever you want with that, and it's really nice to work. Now they're on the version number 2. This platform I create, the front end platform I created on Angular version 1.3.1. I'm gonna keep it that way because I got stuck yesterday with a new beta 16 on Drupal 8. They changed the way REST is provided, so it made it much more complicated for posting and putting data. RESTful is on core. Now Drupal 8 has integrated a lot of things on core. We know that we have now Symfony, of course, and that's part of the platform now. But we have integrated a lot of modules, including views. I think they should implement it on Drupal 7, but they implemented it until Drupal 8. And also REST. What they didn't integrate was REST UI. So we got to go through a different module install to see it. In REST, we see several things. One of them is serialization. Yeah. Say that again. Services module. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I know it is not in the core, but I don't know if it's outside. We have serialization, imported application, or HAL. That's for the extend the functionality, and we have basic authentication for provide or not access to data, depending on that. Data is really important for all the companies, and given access are not dependent on us, and of course it's good to have it. Why Angularjs? Well, that's from a personal point of view. Is two-way data binding. That means we can send data and receive data from the front-end application to our backend. Dependency injection. We have all the dependencies we need on our app, and we can move using it properly. And of course, because the most popular platform out there, and it's cool. And I have this discussion with a backbone developer, and he liked that one better. He had a really good point, because Angular use a lot of DOM inherit the text, and backbone works a different way. So it's a way more clean way to work, and he has a really good point. But Angular provides this just cool stuff, and is way just easy to see, not to understand, because we know the curved line of Angular is as hard as Drupal one. I'll be using this project, the most recent September 4 release of Drupal 8 plus REST UI, an external module to see the configuration of REST. Plus, I'll be using another module configuration. Thanks, Brolak, one friend of mine, that he developed an extent that he doesn't own the module, but he developed his own version of it to get access. So now I'm going to just show you a Drupal 8 platform that I didn't expect was that big. Maybe better. Yeah. So that's a Drupal 8, people, in case that we don't know it. So as I said, we have views already on core, and it's already installed by default, but the other ones I mentioned, they are not installed by default. We talk about whole, basic authentication, RESTful web services, and serialization. REST UI, and the other hand, is not in core, but it's here because I already put it there. And here's the model I talk about, cores, to have an authentication from the external website to the current one. Now there's different ways to do this. Cores authentication, it can be done through the .htaccess file, or just configure your Apache to accept those requests. But the module provides a better and easy way to handle, and you can actually split it by URLs. So we only will allow cores through a specific URL. We can do that using the module. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is try to do this as explicative as possible. It might be some mistakes because it's gonna be practice, it's live thing. So I'm gonna create a content type. We already know about this. We create a content type called employee, which is the example I'm gonna use. Pretty much what I'm gonna try to do is provide an external service of employee information based on Drupal structure, and consume that information from an Angular 1.31 version platform. So I know Okay, we're going to change title by first name because we don't need title on an employee. I'm going to save the content type. Okay, now I'm going to add other fields like, I don't know, let's say, of course, last name. Already did. Okay, everything is just as straightforward as Drupal 7 or 6 is. We create fields, except for the entity methodology. I'm going to remove the body because we don't need body here. We just, pretending to get some information. Now, you might be wondering why doing a content type employee and instead of using just regular users entity, but thing is, I'm gonna use it as an example. That's all. If you want to use just employees as users on the platform, you can do that, or you can split it too. I'm gonna create an email. It's gonna be email, and that's it. As simple as that. Gonna create a couple of numbers. Decimal one called hourly fee. And probably I can add a suffix as edge, so we can know that that number is per hour. And another one, let's see, it's gonna be working hours per week. Okay, so we can also add a description there. Now, okay, I think for the fee, I should, instead of put the H at the end, I should put $1 at the beginning, because money amount. Okay, now we can, the good thing about Drupal 8 is that we have a split the way the form is going to be displayed as well as the node is going to be displayed. It's for users. We're going to put last name next to first name, and that's only going to affect the form, the way the forms view. Now, if I create a content, let's say an employee, I'm going to have last name below to first name, and hour fee, I don't know. And I work 40 hours a week. But I also have another employee. It's called Fred, and it's gonna be Fred. And he makes a little bit of money, and he worked only 30 hours last week. We have content, we have the structure, the architecture created on our backend platform. Right now, it doesn't make any sense for me to extend this platform to a better way to see or just use-friendly URLs, because these platforms is meant to be a backend provider. But what we gotta do is just create a way to provide data. Now, the one way to do this is we can create a view, and I'm gonna call it payroll. And we already have this option here since we installed the REST module, and it will provide a view that is gonna serve JSON data. So I'm gonna put a payroll, okay, and keep moving, creating a view. I'm creating this view. I already created a content type and a couple of nodes, and I'm seeing here already the JSON data, but it's not what I actually want to serve because you have a lot of information. First thing I got to do is just filter that data by my content type, and I want that only be employees, because this is going to be serving just employees. Now my JSON data is just limited for those two, but I don't want the whole entity to be provided. I want just some fields. Now title, we know that by default the entity have title on it, but we just rename that as first name. And a good thing about this type of views is we can put alias on it. So when we serve data, the JSON data, we can match those names with our platform names. So we were creating a standard when we read it, and we'll see that later on the front end application. So I'm gonna call this one first name. Of course, I'm gonna add a couple of more fields. The ones that belongs to employee is the email, the hour fee, the last name, and work hours. So this is email. We want a plain text. That's okay. And we have the hour fee. Now this one, I'm gonna just apply it to everyone and see how data is present. Now if we see the JSON here, we said that first name has and some HTML there because it's linked to the user. We also see that, well, email is just fine, but we also see that field hour fee has a $sign, and we don't want that because we're providing numbers. It's going to be kind of confusing in front end if we want to do some math thing. So what I'm going to do is just the hour fee. I'm going to remove this option that says display prefix and suffix. So we're going to be only providing the number. And on the title, which is the first name, I'm going to remove the link to the content. So the only data to be provided is going to be flat data. Now we have first name, clean Alfred, clean email, clean number, clean last name, and so forth. So this view is good to be safe and view. Let me save it. Now, we already have the architecture and a way to provide data, of course. Yeah.
So you provided an alias title.
Of course, yeah. And actually, that's something I have to do, and I totally forget about. So we have first name. This is one I'm going to put email. New alias. We have our fee, which is called fee. And this one, what was this one? Oh, last name. Yeah, last name. And work hours. I don't remember. We'll see. We've got some conflicts, which is good because we can solve it together, and that's the idea. Now we have this view. We have a URL, and since this is not actually through the REST service by itself, but through a view, we can see it just like going to that URL and see that the JSON is provided there. Now, I use the add-on for testing web apps or for testing JSON REST services on Chrome that give us a platform where we can test. Now, one thing I was telling you about the new version of Drupal 8 Beta 15, they changed the REST, the way the REST is provided. I already made this presentation on Drupal Camp San Diego, and I was using Drupal 8 version Beta 6, and it was totally different. Now they required one of the parameters in the URL got to be format, _format. I don't know if you can see it just fine there, yeah. And that's telling the service what format we want. Why that? Because the URL is going to be the same that we use on regular Drupal. So if I come here to node 1, I'm gonna be seeing a node, node number 1, which is an employee content type. and we'll see all the information there. But if I just put here format JSON, I'm telling you, I want to see that node, but in different format. And that's what they do. Now I have that message because I didn't, right now I'm accessing the URL as a REST application, and I have not authenticated myself yet. So I haven't sent my username or password, so I'm getting not acceptable message. They have weird messages, not straightforward yet. They just show no message or not acceptable. And I guess that's to get improved later. Or we can help too on the community. So as I was saying, I use this to test my REST API. Now, if I remove the authorization here, all right. So actually, it's root my username and password. And if I remove the authorization through the headers, I'm gonna get the same message for not acceptable. And here's the JSON output that we got on the browser. But now if I send on the headers my username and password, I should get some data. And oh, no, I'm accessing the node, not the view I create. Sorry about that. I'm not there yet. So payroll, I was saying that because payroll does not need authentication. So I remove the authentication and put payroll here. So we get REST here. So we know that any platform can consume our REST. But in the other hand, content types are by default provided on the REST, and this is the REST UI interface that's provided. And as I was saying, Node has the same URL that changed, but we send the parameter and we will get all the entity information. Now, if we edit this, we have several things. We have authentication, different formats on all the content types. Okay. Now, now I can access just that no one now because let's just enable it. One, and I'm saying format JSON, and I will get the error message. No, I went through. Now I have the node ID number one, the value, the employee language, and everything that I need. It's weird because I never enabled this, but we have access to. Oh, that's because we're using a cookie. Okay, so we know we have a REST provider, and we know we have a view type REST provider the way we want to provide, the only data we want to provide. So we have content types access, and we have a view that provides the data in a way we want. Now, I'm gonna move to the Angular app and see if we can see something. Yes, cool. Now on Angular, we have the directive, the controller, and the views. And I have created this website. Oops. Where's my website? We have created these websites. I have created this website, I'm sorry. So I'm accessing my view right now, and I'm gonna show you how. So normally, for those that develop PHP or Java, the index.php is like an enter point. That's our default platform. I'm saying here to Angular that my app is called my app, and I have directive and configurations on Angular through the DOM of the HTML. And that's what I was saying about that friend of mine that didn't like Angular because of that. Now, if we move a little bit down, we have all the information and the libraries we're going to be using. And as I told before, I'm using Angular 1 for this one since Drupal 8 changed all the way they are providing REST. And I didn't have the time to upgrade this to the new version of Angular. And also, we're using an external library called Toaster, so just to make the pop-ups looking pretty, or the messages. And my apps, which is the app.js and data.js, and some directive for the form that we're going to be seeing, which is the email match and the focus. And we have the controllers included there too. Now, if I go to the app, I have the dependencies here. The name of my app, as I show you on the DOM of the HTML, and I have some dependencies there, which is the Angular root, the animate, and the toaster, which is the library I add. The name of my app first, and the dependencies a second. Now, the root allow me to set different roots, like friendly URLs, and tell them when I go to that URL, just title that and go to that view, which is awesome because I can handle just right there what to view and how to view it. And every single view has its own configuration, but this is like the router provider does. And we also have some configuration here we'll see in. But by default, we will land on dashboard. That's why we are here. Now, if we go to the controller of dashboard, we have a sort by that will allow me to sort employees by a particular field. And also, I have another directive by searching, and that will allow me to search. So let me see the dashboard HTML and show you. So I'm telling use this controller, which is the one I just showed you, to handle this object. Now I have a search here, and I'm using the native directive search. So that will allow me to search through this form input. And it will trigger the controller to filter every result with that. And I have this directive click that it will receive as parameter sort by, and we can sort by descending or ascending order, just adding this minus on the actual field we want to sort by. So you remember we called first name on our view. That's why we'll be showing it. In the table, we'll have the last name, first name, email, ROV, total hour. Another good, cool thing that we can do is just math things. Now, this directive told me like loop through to every single result I receive through the backend platform and do something. So the first row I will get, it will have first name, and I'm saying that, okay, pipe it and uppercase it. So that will show all the first name and uppercase. Last name, we don't do anything. We just tell them with the key that use Angular variables. Email, we're doing nothing. Fee, we're doing something, which is funny because we're using currency, US dollars, and by default, we're putting a value of 0. Total hours, I think I call it that on the view. If not, we can change it so to make it work. Other way it won't work because it's not the data I'm receiving from the JSON service. And of the last row, I'm doing a math thing. I'm using total hours. I'm multiplying it by the fee. And one more thing, the result that I get from that math operation, it will be sent as currency dollar, and by default we're adding a 0. Now the result, which I show you before I actually explain the code, is this. Now if I go to my to my view, and this was meant to fail, but it worked. So for some reason, it never worked. So if I go to my structure of the view, and let's make it fail because I want to fail. I'm gonna look my payroll and gonna make an alias. If I change my alias for total hour, let's say, and I save that view, I will be providing my REST service with different information, and I will be receiving it in here and waiting to use that number. You see that? Now, total hours change, and in my Angular app, I'm waiting for this variable, total hours with an S, but it never came that way. So I don't show no this row, no, nor this row to change it. Now I can change it from here, from the app. And if I save it, now it should work, of course. And we have the math. We have the dollar sign there. We have this data we bring in from Drupal, total hours, and the multiplication we did. So this is the total amount per week. We're gonna pay Alfred 600 and me 1400. Woo. Now, the other directive I told you about was sorting, and I put this. I can't put whatever I want. I just put this because it looks pretty, but I can change that. I know. Descending, I guess. Oh. S-E or right. Now if I clear a cache, I'll get dozer. Just doesn't make much sense, but okay. I'm gonna sort them, and according here, my directive to click is gonna be sorted by first name or negative first name. Let's see how that works. Ooh. It works. So it's fine. We can do that with the same directive, same instruction on every single field. On the other hand, I'm gonna just put it back. We have the search input where we have the directive search. Only with doing this, I have a search. So if I go there and do search, Jason, okay, Ori, no, that's not included. Oh yeah, it is. So I didn't do much. I just create the controller and I said sort it by anything that we put and use these fields. And I told the service view to provide the data the way I need it. Now, back to the REST application. So I tested it here. Yeah, I'm getting the proper information. But I'm gonna also check user one. Now, if I go to user one, I'm getting 403, even if I have authorization check. Anyone here want to tell me why? 403. Yeah, it takes me a while too, but it was easy because I actually never enabled that on the REST configuration. So if we go to the REST UI, by default we have content, but we have disabled a lot of information we can provide. Now, if we look for the user one, is here using the same URL. That's why they add the extra parameter that kills a lot of time. Now enable that one, but I can't tell what I want to provide. Do I want to create users from my application? Do I want to just provide the information? So let's use basic authentication only. No. So we are going to be providing, that's supposed to, and and of course authentication, save it, and now we have access to the user entity through the same URL. If I go and do the same thing that I did with node, user1, it's going to show me the user1 entity, which is root. I don't have any other user, so if I go to user2, I will get page not found. But user number 1, it will be served as HTML, but if I add the extra parameter, it's served as a JSON information. Now, since I'm accessing the entity, by default, it shows every single data on the entity. So it will just show more than we need or everything that we need. It depends on what we're working on. Maybe we don't want to use the language code because we only have English on it, but the information is provided there. The whole entity information. Even if we add an extra field on user entity, like I don't know, like an address, it will show here. So it's getting the whole entity information. Let's try in here if it works. User number 1. Now we're having a 200, okay, which is good. And we have all the different JSON data, well, showing like the user ID, the UID, and so forth. Now, let's get back to the code. I have here the data on the same app called service data. I have here some variables. One is my URL, and that's why everything works, and the user and password. But if I change the password, we can test the access payroll, and payroll will have no trouble because, as we saw, the view is being served anyway. But user is going to fail. And that's the toaster plugin I add to my Angular app. So everything looks much nicer. Let's see it again. Boom. It's cool. So I'm getting an error. If I check my console to see, I'm getting just a 403 error, and I'm going to the right URL. For some reason, it's failing. But it's the same reason we can see on the add-on that it makes it easier, because if I remove the authentication, we'll get no, it's catch. I'm gonna ignore that and see if it works that way. No, okay, it's catch. So see if I can click catch. Yeah, it's just working. Everything works today. So, well, in here in the console, we can see we have no access to the user 1. Let's see if everything is okay. If I change it to root, and I have here an object employees, where I get the employees, and I have another object called get user info. I have application JSON, and I'm sending here the format and my URL to user 1. If fails, it will pop up with a toaster, object toaster with an error. And I'm here logging the console. Let's console something here before the error or inside the error. And now we get back. We should have something in the console. And I'm printing. Oh, I printed on the error and I correct the username. Now let's fail the username again. Now the password. Now if I fail it, it's printing my information on the log. So yeah, I'm getting just the right place or where I want to go. Now if I succeed, it will print my information provided by REST default functionality and just printing regular information. Now, for doing a post is different. We'll see a form, and this it will fail for sure. I know that. Now, yeah, got it too. And we have a controller called create. And we have all the variables here. We have title, last name, email, fee, total hours. Oh, that one it will fail because I removed the S. Now, oh no, I removed from the view on the alias, but the alias is called different. Now, this is one which should be like actually like field last name. This is the name of the entity. Field email. Oh, last name was called weird, right? It was like LA. And field fee. That's it. We're only going to send those because I remember the name of the other fields. Now we also have the status if it's okay, and we are logging the response. This is the controller, as I already said, and let's see the view. Now the view for create is regular HTML with embed some Angular directive. The first one we're going to see is just where we're bringing data from on the model first name, last name, of course, in case we want to put it there as default. And here's a funny directive where if it's not an email formatted properly, or it doesn't match with the other with the number one email, it will jump with an error. And actually in my configuration I didn't put jumping, it's just not enabling the create user button. I fill the form Jason 2, I'm gonna put like 940. My button seals not enable, and everything here is Angular. We haven't used the REST yet. It's just the interface. We can make it look as we want, and as I said before, we can use the Android app to do this too. Now email, I'm gonna put using outer space coolers, and still not enabled it. Now if I put this email, it won't enable, and it will give me a message that email does not match. I'm gonna copy the above one, and even if the fields match, well, the button is already enabled, but even if the email match, it will give me an error because they are not email properly formatted. But that didn't work. So let's see. Boom, it failed. Now I was working on this, and there are several things that people suggest. If I came here to my add-on, it says, okay, send the authentication and send the asset parameter and a token. We send it a post, and we send some data. But this, I know it was not going to work. It will also jump with 406 because it's an open bug on the new version of Drupal 8 beta 15. They are moving the way they handle REST, and they have this bug. And there's people that have found a way around. I didn't. So on beta 2 it was much simpler, but I like this way much better because we are reusing the same URL. We're just reformatting the way we access to that information. So just to revisit some code, it would be views and everything. I think time is gone. So I think we have space for some questions. Yeah.
Ask a quick question on the search function. Does that actually bring the whole data set to the client? Or can you...
No. The Angular will first request data, receive it, and the search is just right there. That's why it's so fast. Yeah. They catch. Actually, if I remove any of the code and I keep reloading, it will show the same data. So it doesn't matter if we change anything on the back end, the front end will remain the same and working properly. Okay, thank you. That will be it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, it was an add-on. NRC REST. Am I supposed to stop streaming because my computer got stopped? Oh no, through the YouTube.
Yeah, you should stop.
Your little blue button on the very bottom of your screen.
Yeah, it's just there's no button at all. Oh, okay. Got to stop. I just shut it down. See?
Huh.
Oh, there. Which one? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Probably if you put your computer to sleep, it'll shut down the
Yeah.
recording.
I'm afraid to start recording should I get back. What time do you have? You have time?
There's a clock right up there. It's a couple of minutes before 4 o'clock.
Okay. Okay. So I gotta go. Making sure to get back to you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.